Live on YouTube. So that means I take off that and listen through my ears. So I get feedback. Microphone. That speaker headset. Right. Okay, so let me go back to my where was I? I was here. Okay. So that being the case now, the one that's getting magnetic field caused by a current flowing down and flowing up. Oh, I didn't do this one here. I'm sorry. Right. Well, if it's flowing down, what you do? So as the conductor, current going into the board, right hand grip rule, what you do? A set of lines, concentric circles around it, right? The key to the diagram is draw close concentric lines close to the conductor to show field strength. As you go further away, draw the lines a little further away. Understood? That's to show the field is getting weaker as you move away. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right hand grip rule. That make sense?
Yes, sir.
Current coming up to meet you as the conductor. As the current in the conductor coming up, draw field lines close to the conductor. That's the first set of field lines. You draw them close to each other, but get them every successive one must be a little further apart. And the one that before. And then put the field lines on them. The arrows. Amen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. For this one, what you want to do? The current coming up here, as I told you before, you're going down at this point, coming up at that point, use the right hand grip rule. And in the middle here, there's something like that. There's something like that in the middle there. The line's almost parallel in the middle like that. Right? And of course, right hand grip rule. Other way. Because coming up here and going down there. There's an X there. And there's a dot there. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, real simple. All right, let's see. All right, so I want to indicate the magnetic poles obtained at P, Q, R, and S. So for this one here, what we will be doing, number 5, for that one there, indicating the diagram below, the magnetic poles obtained at P, Q, R, and S. We're using the right hand grip rule there, right? So, all right, what you will be doing, imagine yourself gripping that wire like that, because your fingers have to go over it like that, and your thumb will point towards the North Pole. So P will be the North Pole, must be a right hand, Q will be a South Pole. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
At this case here, you put R here. This look like a South Pole. I look like a North Pole. Okay. Again, what you do have here, all right, so on this side with R, sorry, I put the S close by. It's ready to mark that it's a north, South Pole. That's south. So yes, we're supposed to have north here, and so the line is provided for that. Yeah, for clarity. Right, that's what you should have. Same right hand grip rule you'll be using again, right? Same right hand grip rule. Right, so for the side with R, for this side here with R, annotate. All right, for this side with R here, what you'll be doing, you'll be curling your fingers like that. And your thumb will point towards the North Pole on that end. So where the back of your hand is, here will be a South Pole, which is what happens here. And here, what happens in this case, on this side, you'll be gripping it this way, and your thumb will point towards the North Pole at the bottom. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, figure 6 illustrates the circuit diagram for the switching of a high voltage circuit by a relay operated by a 12-volt supply. So a relay is a switch that actually turns on another switch, right? So when you close this switch here, you have 12 volts current flows through here, activates a coil. The coil actually generates a magnetic field, and this magnetic field actually causes this switch, attract the switch to close along on top of this. That's what a relay is, a switch that closes another switch. So what is suitable metal for this core? What core are you talking about? The relay coil is wound on a metal core. So this coil here had to be wound on a core. To strengthen the field, what we use? Soft iron. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
This is like a solenoid, right? It's like a solenoid. And to strengthen the magnetic field, to make it a strong electromagnet, you put a piece of soft iron inside. Explain why you consider this metal suitable, right? Because it does not permanently, it's only it's a temporary magnet. You want soft iron, magnetism can be turned on and off. Soft iron's magnetism can be turned on and off. Whereas if it was steel, once we become magnetized, it wouldn't let go of the switch. Could be turned on and off. So it retains its switching effects. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
What would happen if the core made of aluminum? If the core made out of aluminum, two things, the field will be weak. Because aluminum is not magnetic. And would not be able to switch the relay. Right? And probably not. If the coil itself doesn't have a strong enough magnetic field, and probably not switch. There's nothing magnetism to attract the switch within the relay. When this becomes a magnet here, when this guy becomes magnetic, you could pull the switch closed, plucks. Right? And normally there's a spring here. So when you have to pull it against a spring to close it. So when this magnetism is lost, the spring pushes the switch back open. Right? Give one reason why the high voltage is switched on in this way rather than by direct switching. Well, high voltage means what? You have high currents here. So this is a switch. A relay is a switch you use with low voltage to switch on circuits with high voltage. You don't want to be handling currents, closing a switch with 400 amps passing underneath it. You don't want that. 400 amps, you don't want to be nowhere close to 400 amps. If 400 amps hit you, you're dead. Right? So you use a magnet, use a small circuit. It's actually a control circuit. When you close a switch, you don't want to, right? The current will flow through here, make this a magnet. As this becomes magnetic, it will pull this in, plucks. And this circuit has a high voltage current that flow in this one. Two separate circuits, eh? They ain't touching each other at all. Just this magnet pulling the switch to close that one. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right, and this has high current, 400 amps. You don't want nobody, 400 amps, 1,000 amps sometimes, depending on the motors you're running in the industry. You don't want to be nowhere close to that. Right. So we had to give one reason why the high voltage is switch on in this way rather than by direct switching. Right? It is very dangerous. You want to remote switch. Right? We want to switch remotely high current circuits. So in the switch on high current circuits remotely, you don't want to be anywhere close in contact with that. Remotely. So using induction, right? To pull that switch close. You don't want to do that at all. No way. Okay. I think this is one of the last ones in this one, I know. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll leave out this one. This one, no. This one is not important to us. All right, the electric bell, how it works. You have to name each part of the electric bell. So you have a battery, there's a switch, there's a contacting screw, springy contact. This is the gong that rings, this is the hammer that rings the bell, this is the gong. This is the electromagnet. So we want to see what are the different parts, right? So let's zoom out a bit. Lord have mercy, that's way too small. Right, so the bell rings by repeated. We get a brrrr. It's because this hammer hits the bell many, many times. Okay? So let's see. To switch on the current, what you need? A switch. Right? So that's obviously A. Let's label, that will be A here for sure. A is the switch. And what B is? B will be a piece of soft iron that the solenoid is, the coil is passing around to strengthen the magnetic field. So let's see B here. B. Okay, let's to strike the bell as F for sure. G is the bell itself to produce a song. To break away from the contact screw and be connected to the electromagnet when the current flows. That will have to be C. This C here. Right? It's a springy contact, really. To make and break contact with a soft iron armature. Just now, bam, bam, bam. I'll give the name for them just now to cause the armature to return to its original position. Will be D. To make and break contact with a soft iron armature. That will have to be the contacting screw. So that to be E. To cause the armature to return to its original position. That had to be the spring. So this is D. This is D. To become an electromagnet when the current flows, that will be B. To break away from the contact screw, right? That's it there. A, B, C, where's D? Strike the bell. All right, D is here, D. Okay, so I'll give you a list of all those things just now. But let's see what happens. When you close the circuit, let's focus on that. When I close the circuit, current will flow through here. As current flows through here, right? Through the back, flows through here. We know this has a magnetic field. This is soft iron here. Okay? This also is made out of soft iron as well. So this becomes a magnet, temporary magnet that pulls this whole thing to actually come in contact with the magnet itself. Yeah. Once that happens, this hammer will hit the bell and we'll get a noise. But once that pulls away from here, the circuit is broken because the current passes through here. The current passes through here, goes through here, goes back through here, and goes through here. So once this separation is made, at this screw here, okay, when the magnet attracts this whole thing moves away and there's a gap. So the circuit is open, this loses magnetism, and then current flows back. When it loses magnetism, it comes back to its position. Okay, so let me see if I can explain it again. It's 4:57. All right, so we have to have a class on Sunday. Okay. Okay, let's see how the whole thing works again, right? I want to be very clear. You see this piece here? The screw actually separates. Once the magnet is magnetized, this whole thing swings in like that. This whole piece that you're seeing here, this piece here moves inward to follow this line here. And it breaks away from this screw. All of this moves with it. All of this moves with it. So when it moves away from that, the screw is left all by itself, touching nothing. The screw is like that. And everything else is swung in like that. During that moment, the circuit is going to be open. Let's trace the path that current would pass normally. Once the circuit is closed, let's trace the path. Current leaves here, comes here, passes through here, passes through here, passes through here, through the contacting screw, through here, to come back around here, to come here. So I close the circuit, this becomes a magnet. When it becomes a magnet, it attracts this piece to swing in, to come in contact with this. This is soft iron, it's now a magnet, this is now attracted. So it comes in and hits this. In the time being, in that moment, F hits the gong and you get a ringing sound. But from the moment this moves away from here, the circuit is now open. When the circuit is open, what that means? The magnet will lose its magnetism. So no sooner it hits here, right? It has no means to keep this here. And then this is a springy this is like a spring. You can see they make this like a spring here. It tends to want to return back to the screw. So it comes back and hits here, bam. When it hits here now, current starts to flow again. It becomes a magnet, attracts him again. But as he attracted to him, he breaks the circuit. So he comes back here. So this goes back and forth. And you get that ping, 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 brrr. It vibrates like that. That's how your bell works. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, then you have your circuit breaker here. Well, I wouldn't, let me come to the motor and let's say we can do this now. The figure ABCD with current in the diagram, with current flowing in the direction shown. Which way will the forces act on AB, BC, and CD indicate the direction of the force in the diagram? Fleming's left-hand rule, right? Motor. Once this motor, left-hand rule. You use the right hand to generate force. So they have two rules, Fleming left-hand rule and Fleming's right-hand rule. The right-hand rule, with your right hand used to generate force. Most people, if you're a boxer, your right hand is your one used to generate real power. So this is actually the rule used for generators. The left hand is used for motors. Okay, so first finger in the direction of the field is going from north to south. Second finger in the direction of the current. In CD, the current going in this way. Well, take your left hand and just put your fingers in that way. Arrange them as we know. We know it to be arranged. We do our fingers, arrange them in this way. First finger in the direction of the field. All right, so first finger in the direction of the field, going from north to south. Second finger in the direction of the current, CD will move upward. And of course, we know BA will move downward. The force on CD is parallel to our field line. Once it's parallel to our field line, no force acts on this. So he doesn't really experience a force as such. The force is really on two sides. This one and that one, because they run at right angles to the field lines. All right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. And this one now, the structure of a simple motor is shown. Indicate how the motor runs. Let us label the parts. Oh boy. What part is this one here?
Brush.
Yeah, the carbon brush. This part here.
So full of a magnet.
All right. Okay, yeah, that's the stator magnet basically. Right? All right. What part is this here? That's your coil, right?
Yes, sir.
What part is this here?
Split ring.
Split ring commutator, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What part is this here? What is the purpose of this, you think?
The resistor.
Yeah, it's a rheostat, and you use that to do what? What do you think you're using that for?
Um, to vary the amount of current in the circuit.
Which is vary the speed of the motor. Yeah. So there's three ways you can vary the speed of a motor. One is to increase the number of turns on the coil. Two is to strengthen the magnetic field. And the third is the way we just said it, strengthen magnets. If you use a more powerful magnet, or you add a soft iron armature to the magnet, that's just constrict the field lines. Right, so in other words then, right here, you put a piece of soft iron around it. Right? This will be a piece of iron, which the coil is wrapped around.
Yes, sir.
All right. And finally, increase the current. All right, so I think, let me see what you have here. Is a, wow. Okay, I'll leave it to go through these, right? The rest. They're kind of simple. I
Yes,
think
sir.
I want you to go through these, and then after we'll go through the generator one. So we'll call that George for today, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's now 5 o'clock. So when's our next class, sir? Sunday when?
Sunday, sir.
What time? You tell me.
I was thinking more Saturday.
You thinking about what?
So we can't go have a class tomorrow.
Tomorrow night then.
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right, I'll have a class tomorrow then. Okay then. So I'll see you tomorrow night at
Yes,
around,
sir.
let's say, 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So take care.
Same to you, sir.
All right.